All right. I'm going to need everyone to take your seats. Class is about to begin. Folks, transfer portal grades are in. And we're going to be giving them out. Kevin, we got Cornell Kevin, fact expert here on the line with us. But, folks, there's been a lot of transfers. And we're encouraging call-ins tonight. We want call-ins, report cards are in. And next week, we're going to be giving our team report cards as well next week. And I swear on my life, if any other podcast tries to steal that idea, I will call you out, dude. But, yes, but this week it's transfer portal grades. I ran them. You guys like AI? I ran them through an algorithm, created an app, ran them through an algorithm. That's why I'm scienced up here. Kevin, you see this? Class is in
looking
session.
Good, man.
Class is in session.
Looking good.
I did my research, folks, and there's been so many transfers, Kevin, you can't even keep up with them, dude.
It's unbelievable.
Man? What do you think of all these transfers flying off the rails, dude? It's been absolutely wild.
It's nuts, man. It kind of makes me glad I'm a Cornell fan because I don't lose anyone, but then again, I don't gain anyone, so I don't see a team title ever down the road. But it's crazy, man. It definitely spicens up the summer, the spring and summer a little bit. That's for sure.
Is this this is the craziest wrestling offseason that we've ever seen? I did my research, I did my data, Kevin, but it's official. Yeah. It's official.
It's official.
And Kevin is here to really break it down to a whole nother level. I ran these through, I created an app, an algorithm, and I entered all this data for every single wrestler, the top 30, Kevin, that I considered that entered the transfer portal. And mind you, the bottom 6 are not even have not even committed yet. So we're going to go through all these, and these are all official, really, really official. Probably the most official thing, Kevin, I probably have ever done. What do you think of that, dude?
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Okay, you were supposed to disagree. Let's go to I'm going to get your thoughts here. Let's look at round 1, the top 6. We're going through the top 30, folks. Transfer portal, Thomas Gilman. Sneak peek, folks. School on the left is where they went, where they transferred from, and the school on the right is where they transferred to. And the grading system, the one on the left, is the grade for the losing team. And the grade on the right is the grade for the receiving team. Now, I'll say this. The losing team, you don't want a high grade for a losing team. You don't want this to be a high impact grade if you're a losing team. But if you're the receiving team on the right side, you do want a high grade. So we'll break it down, folks. Kevin, the first 6 we have on the list here. Thomas Gilman, it just broke through on Bosch, right? Gilman,
yeah,
he left Oklahoma State. He goes to Penn State. Is that official yet, Kevin? Can talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, actually, nothing was really official till today. Not even him leaving was official till today. I know everyone already had him at Penn State, and this is going to happen. But him leaving Oklahoma State and entering Penn State really just became official this morning. So yeah, this is all brand new as far as Gilman goes. Okay, not a huge surprise, but
the Gilman. The rumors are, Kevin. Sorry, I just mic checked you there. Lowered your volume a little bit. You're coming in hot, Kevin. You're coming in hot. But
I tend to do that.
I don't know. I watch Twitter, folks. I put Gilman's stats up, which are the stats I entered into the AI app I created to see exactly what the impact value grades were for Gilman leaving Oklahoma State and going to Penn State. And by the way, rumors were, I don't know, I read on Twitter, Kevin, that it was like a sponsor made a comment to his wife or something that you may need to hang out with us more often or something. I don't know, dude. That's totally speculation, but
yeah, I heard the same thing, but then someone tried to make it like more than it was. But then one person said all they did was just say that they should come to more events like this or something. So who knows? Because there's nothing wrong with saying that. But
well, if there's one thing you learn, dude, do not mess with people's wives, dude. Right? That's like the number 1 man rule, dude. You don't mess with another man's wife. And I don't know if that's the case. That's total speculation. But folks, the report card is in. So the impact grade for Oklahoma State losing Thomas Gilman is an A+. And you're going to learn, you're going to find out that Actually, Kevin, that was a teaser, dude, because the actual AI, are you ready for the AI? I'm going to, and
Yep.
then, I'll put up, here we go. Real impact grades, folks, of these top 6. No, in no particular order, by the way. I did not put these wrestlers in particular order. I tried to generally rank them in significance value, but let's go down the list. Thomas Gilman, I put his stats up. Last year, they finished 3rd. Next year, preseason, now, if he's at Penn State, 1st. And the impact value at Oklahoma State is an A+, which is bad for Oklahoma State. They're losing a great coach. The impact value at Penn State is only a B. They already have a lot of good coaches. So, Kevin, I want to get your thoughts here. This whole Thomas Gilman saga is like the icing on the cake for this wrestling offseason, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised to hear this. It looked like him and David Taylor were, getting along great and having a good system there. And but with that being said, it also sounded like, I don't know if it was just him or I mean, just his wife, or him and his wife, homesick, wanted to be back in Pennsylvania. I'm hearing a lot about his wife wanting to do that. And who knows, if she's in his ear all the time talking about it, all of a sudden any little thing might get magnified in his head, anything that might be going bad. All of a sudden he's looking for reasons to leave. Who knows? But you know what? Huge gain for Penn State. And it is a big loss for Oklahoma State.
Let's talk about it from the angle of Penn State. Like, what an absolute steal. And, like, a jab at, because it's pretty obvious. The David Taylor-Cale Sanderson rivalry is now button heads. Like, that is the
it's on
of college wrestling now, right? Like, that is it. And
oh yeah,
David Taylor's taking some jabs, taking some shots at Penn State. But really, the ultimate haymaker is stealing a coach, dude. That is like playing chess when the other guy was playing checkers. Is that crazy?
It's crazy that he went back and forth too. He went from Penn State to Oklahoma State, back to Penn State. It's nuts.
Maybe it has nothing to do with, maybe it is something outside of, maybe his wife was just homesick, and maybe everything I said was total speculation. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I read on Twitter from sources outside of Pat Mineo.
Yeah.
Outside of Pat Mineo. So,
yeah.
Right?
That's a good call.
Right, let's move on. So let's talk about Richie Figs. Okay, Richie Figs goes from Arizona State to Oklahoma State. So you see the data I put up there, Kevin, what I entered into the system, the process, and the impact value for Arizona State is significant. An A-. Obviously, that's a big loss for Arizona State. They've lost a lot of big wrestlers here the past couple of years. For Oklahoma State, it's a B+. Now, if you look at who he is replacing, Reese Whitcraft was there. And really, all these categories are taken into consideration. How many years do they have remaining? Which Figs, I didn't know. 1 or 2. Do you know how many years left does Figs have?
He's got 1 year left.
1 year left.
I believe.
So
yeah,
it's a downgrade to the impact rating at Oklahoma State, because this takes into consideration, we're going to talk about it, the Rocco Welsh, Zach Ryder swap that happened. Not swap, but anyway, you see there, B+, that's a good get for Oklahoma State, but a bigger loss for Arizona State. Kevin, your thoughts on Figueroa transfer?
I'm not really super psyched about it for Oklahoma State. The reason being is I really feel like he's going to pan out kind of like the other Arizona State guys did, especially him in particular. I kind of see him going in and getting his money or whatever, and kind of not really being a focused individual, just from what I've seen from him, just looking back on him. If I had to predict right now, it wouldn't surprise me if he did an AA next year. David Taylor's got a lot of work to do with him. I think he's going to have to really keep him in line and keep him focused, I think.
Okay. The predicted weight classes up there in small text, right by the wrestler, but that's kind of a bold prediction, dude.
And he's moving up a weight, right? So
sure about that? Yeah, he's moving up to 130.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. If you had gun to head right now, I say he does an All-American next year. I mean, that's I mean, what you would think he would have this year, knowing that teams were going to be out looking for him. He could have gotten himself a real big payday this year. Maybe he did still, who knows? But if he
All
would have
right.
really, taken the Bulls by the horn.
That's a bold prediction, Kevin. I'm going to hold you to that. But in the meantime, listen, we got a call in. Well, we're going to call in. Listen, and no, can't go there. We'll move on. Hey, Fawn, hang on, man. Hang on because I'm dealing with some technical stuff here. We'll bring you on after this first six, okay? Then we'll bring you on. But we'll finish this first six, and then we'll take call-in rounds. So that's how we'll work this. Figueroa, A-, big impact to Arizona State. Pretty big impact to Oklahoma State. But then we'll move on. Let's talk about A.J. Ferrari, man. A.J. Ferrari, dude, was he maybe the biggest offseason free agent, I guess you would say? But A-plus loss to Cal State Bakersfield. I always forget what it is, but
Yeah.
that's a huge loss for them. Obviously, as big of a loss as possible. But I think equally, Kevin, as big of a gain for Rob Cole and North Carolina. Does this put North Carolina and Rob Cole on the map?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they tied for I know there's not a lot of teams, there's 7 teams, but they tied for the regular season title and in the ACC with NC State and Virginia Tech. So they already kind of were at that level, but then they lost a couple big guys, McNeil and Moore going into the portal, but they seem to be picking right back up. They got really good recruiting classes coming in. This guy right now, you got to figure his floor is like a third place finish. His floor, I would say, at 197.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's you're picking up like 17, at least 17 NCAA team points. That's massive.
Yeah, well,
So yeah,
I
this
forgot
is
I
a
have
great
all
pickup.
the stats right in front of me. I'm trying to read a small text in front of me, and even my glasses don't work. Last year finished third at 197. Next year preseason ranked number 2 at 197, only behind Josh Barr from Penn State. He's replacing an unranked wrestler for North Carolina at 197. Well, that's at his old school, obviously, and even at his new school, an unranked wrestler at 197. He's got 2 to 3 years remaining. Is it 2 or is it 3? Do you know?
I would bet it's 2. I don't see how it's going to be 3 because he's saying that he's going to retroact a medical shirt from like 4 years ago. That's not going to happen. So
Okay.
I think it's going to be 2 more years, but still.
Okay.
And we haven't seen him in bar wrestle, so we really don't know how that's going to work out. But you got to look at NCAA points. North Carolina, it's a plus 17 right there. You figure plus 17 to 20. So that's a huge move.
A plus.
Absolutely.
In my class, that's an A plus, folks. The only injuries or other factors, media superstar brings extra attention. That could be good. That could be bad. We'll see. But listen, let's move on, folks. We got the top 30 that we're going to go through. So let's move on to Max Mayfield, okay? Last year finished 14th at 165. Going into next season, number 10th ranked by WrestleStat at 165. Now, who's replacing him at his old school? Now, this is a big deal because this is what the impact rating for his old school is. Okay, Max Mayfield, Northwestern. They have a freshman coming in, Gunnar Myers. I don't know if you heard of him, Kevin, but he's already number 30th ranked preseason. So might not be
he's tough.
Big of a loss as you thought. But who's he replacing at the new school, Missouri? Cam Steed just got 7th, okay, this past season. And I think he's got 2 to 3 years remaining. And Max Mayfield's only got 1 year remaining. So here's what I came up with, folks. Max Mayfield, the impact to his old school is only a C+, which is good for Northwestern. The impact to the new school is a C, which is good, I guess. But, I mean, is he even going to get in that lineup, Kevin, or is this an irrelevant transfer?
Yeah. Well, no, because from everything I've heard, this Cam Steed's going to go up to 174 next year.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing. So then he could slide in at 165. If that didn't happen, what I would wonder is that he did wrestle a couple of years at 157. Maybe he could slide back down to 157. But everything I'm hearing says that Steed is 174 next year and Max will be 165.
Okay. That makes sense. That's why we brought you on here, Kevin. Fact checks. A fact man there.
Yeah, I mean,
but
He's he's a two-time round of 16 guy. You know what I mean? So he just needs someone to give him a little nudge. Nudge in two more rounds and get on the podium.
Yeah. Folks, listen, we had an attempted call in. I lost him after my debacle, but keep trying, folks. We'll get you in here. But we're gonna move on. Let's go to Rocco Welsh, because Rocco Welsh, Zach Ryder, the Penn State. What's going on at Penn State here? So Rocco Welsh last year redshirted, but the year before was second at 174, and preseason ranked number 5 this year at 184. So who's going to take his spot at Ohio State in his replacement? I got Ryder Rogotsky as a junior. And who's he replacing at Penn State? I don't know if you heard of him. Carter Starachi, dude. But Rocco does have 3 years left. I don't know. Is he injury prone? I don't know. Who? Oh, wow. Let me put Rocco's stats up. I got up here injury prone. Is that a thing? I don't know. But then before I even throw it to you, I'm going to go, because the obvious other factor is Zach Ryder here, Kevin. So Zach Ryder redshirted last year for Penn State. Preseason ranked number 10 at 184. 4 years left, dude. He's replacing Rocco. And he's taking over for Dustin Plott at Oklahoma State there at 184. So, but he was just on the Bo Nickel podcast, dude. Is this like an emotional move here? Zach Ryder leaving Penn State, dude. What do you think of these grades, Kevin?
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting on the BEG Facebook page. Someone posted, oh, it sounds like Ryder was going to go regardless, but then his parents came on in the post and said that's bullcrap. He was completely blindsided by this, and you got to figure he gave up his senior year of high school to go train there at Penn State. So he's been at Penn State for 2 years now, not as the starter, because Carter came back, so he's like, okay, wait again. He's so solid. He won the scuffle. He pinned TJ Stewart. I know he had a rough year, but still, it's a heck of a pin. And you know what, man? I would take 4 years of Ryder over 3 years of Welsh. And I think, because Welsh is so sound defensively, but I feel like he's got a smaller ceiling because he's not so offensive, where Ryder, I believe, can really score a lot of points. So,
well, it's interesting you said that.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the grades, the receiving team, Penn State receiving Rocco Welsh only an A-, even based on his prior finalist status, but he's only got 3 years left. Zach Ryder, remaining team grade an A. So it looks like
I agree.
Oklahoma State won this, right?
Yeah, I think they did. A lot of people might disagree with that, and a lot of people have, from what I've heard. But and another thing is, I know like the Penn State podcast keeps saying that might go down. Barr's not going to go down. Why would he go down? He's going to stay at 197. And I just think I would take Zach Ryder all day. It was a very strange move to me, but we'll see how it pans out. But I agree with your grades.
Well, it's not something that I think Penn State anticipated on happening. I think they thought the gravy train was just going to keep on rolling, right?
Oh yeah, they could keep both of them.
Party. And it's like, hey, go on Bo Nickel's podcast. Bo will convince you to come on. And I even saw some criticism for the Bo Nickel podcast on that. I don't know if you had a chance to watch that, Kevin, but
yeah. Yep.
I don't know. We're going to move on, folks. Let's move on to the next 6 that we had in the portal. It was Zach Redding from Iowa State to NC State. Facundo leaving Penn State to Oklahoma State. Dean Peterson, Rutgers to Iowa. Jordan Williams, Little Rock to Iowa. Nasir Bailey, Little Rock to Iowa. A lot of Iowa in this round, Kevin. And then Tarantino from Iowa State to your squad over there, Rob Cole, North Carolina. So listen, I'm going to release my grades here, Kevin. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
The grades for this round. Bang! Zach Redding.
Woo!
Impact grade. Let's start with him, folks. Zach Redding left Iowa State to NC State. What's the impact on Iowa State? F-. No impact on Iowa State. And you're like, what the heck? Why, dude? Well, Jacob Frost is going to be taking over there at 141. They got Iowa State's got people that they're stacked at that weight. So what's the impact of where he went to? NC State. I got D, Kevin. He's only got 1 year remaining. He's replacing Kai Oreen, who put up points. Now, I should have thrown in one other factor into this, which is like the scheduled replacement person. But that was a whole nother level of research, dude. Didn't have time for
Yeah,
it,
that's so much.
what are your thoughts on Zach Redding here?
Yeah, he left a very crowded room around those weights, and it's interesting too because at Iowa State, I hear that you know, Frost at 133 is Evan can't make 133 anymore, so he might be right up there with his brother. You have Echemendia and Pinero,
Yep.
but NC State is going to be really tough next year. People forget that Kevin Jack and Arrington redshirted Jackson Arrington.
Yeah.
And Jackson Arrington at 157 is a whole new animal. Man, did he ever have a good redshirt year. So I'm thinking you're going to put, probably move Jack up to 49, Arrington at 57, but then have Redding slider in at 41. I think that I think it's a good move for NC State, and I think it kind of does work out as far as fitting in the lineup. I don't know how dramatic, he's going to be. I don't think he's all American or anything. He did have a good year last year when he was on the mat, but he slides in pretty good.
Okay, listen, before we get to the next one, Kevin, breaking news here from Not a Wrestler. Apparently from Bosch, UNI assistant Lee Roper going to coach at the Cowboy RTC. I don't know if you're familiar or not.
Wow.
Obviously, they're going to have to make some replacements there with losing Thomas Gilman. But listen, let's move on. Let's talk about Alex Facundo, man. A lot of Penn State fans, big Alex Facundo. What are the grades for Alex Facundo? Well, he redshirted last year, preseason ranked number 19 at 174. He'd have to beat out Levi to get a spot at Penn State, and he's replacing Levi, who's ranked number 1 next year, and he's replacing the number 1 finisher from this past season at Oklahoma State, Dean Hamidi. So high expectations for Facundo. He does have 3 years remaining, okay? So
isn't it nuts?
Factors are in. For Penn State, ironically enough, this is an F just because of the stacked depth that they have. This is not going to negatively affect Penn State. However, for Oklahoma State, this is a big get. This is a B get for Penn State. 3 years remaining, Alex Facundo. I expect 3 AA years here. Kevin, your thoughts?
I'm just trying to figure out. Listen, 165 is going to be D Lockett, okay? And he's going to start, from everything I hear, he's going to start right away. I'm wondering if he's a 174 or 157. Okay, now hear me out. Everyone always thinks that Facundo had to suck all this weight to make 57, but he was always wrestling 74 kilograms, right? Which is 163 pounds. Really not that dramatic. I don't know if people think in their head 74 kilograms, 174 pounds. But to me, he's a small 174 pounder. And I don't know. I'm just wondering what weight he's going to be at. We'll see, I guess. But either way, you get a solid guy, and you got 3 years. It's amazing that he has 3 years left. It's unbelievable after he's been in college for so long. But yeah, I think you never want to lose a guy like Facundo. But Oklahoma State, regardless of where they put him, it's a win for them.
Oh, absolutely. And that B could turn into an A very easily for Oklahoma State. And it is crazy that it's almost irrelevant to Penn State. But we'll move on here. Let's talk about Dean Peterson, because Dean Peterson last year finished 10th place at 125. He goes into next year, preseason ranked number 4 at 125 by WrestleStat. And who's going to be replacing Dean Peterson at Rutgers? Well, here's the good news for Rutgers fans. Mason Gibson, a freshman, who's apparently his studies number 23 ranked, coming in. And when you also consider that Dean only had 1 year remaining, the impact at Rutgers turns out to only be a C. The impact at the new school, Iowa, all the Iowa fans. So how does this impact Iowa? Joey Cruz finished last year 22 ranked as a sophomore, and I think this is a good impact for Iowa. B-, not a great. Kevin, your thoughts here?
I think this is an awesome pickup for Iowa. I would rather have him, to be honest with you, than Richie Figs. And I'm not just saying that because
Wow.
Peterson pinned Figs. I mean, Peterson did pin Figs at NCAAs this past year, right? He had that awesome chain move for the cradle.
Yep.
But I just think with Dean Peterson, you get a guy that beat Luke Lillidahl this year. He pinned Figs. He has the potential for big wins, you know? And he's kind of loopy, it seems like, in the head. He's kind of a crazy dude. You know, his reactions had some wins. So who better to fit with him than Tom Brands, getting in his head, seeing how far it can go. If I'm Iowa, I'm happier with this pickup than I would be Figs.
That's crazy, dude. Then Figs, a former national champion. Are you sure?
Yeah.
You don't want to take that back?
Hey, it's not too crazy because remember, Peterson pinned him at NCAAs this past NCAAs, so it can't be too crazy.
Okay, I'll take it for that. Hey, let's get Fawn calling in. We finally figured it out, dude. Fawn, can you hear me? Can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. What's
All right.
Fawn Lebowski? New caller to the show. Fawn, how you doing, man?
What's
what are your
up,
thoughts on all
Fawn?
these transfers? Are you ready to sit in class?
Hey, listen, I got a couple of grades for you guys, and that's 2 big Fs. One, Zach, for the fantasy wrestling this past March, Zach comes in 10 out of 10.
What do you mean 10 out of 10?
You were
10th.
10th.
10th out of 10th.
Yes, dead last.
Are you sure you don't want to retract that? Because I took the fans' picks there, Fawn. I chose the fans.
Well, the fans are dead last. And then Kevin, who looked at all of our rosters and said Zach has the best team, he's gonna get first by a landslide. F.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. So you were in the league. You were in the league. All right.
Look, now I'm starting to figure out who it is. It ain't Fawn Lebowski. It's the BG Wrestling Champion, Ty, calling in. Oh, my goodness.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah. And Trell Taylor.
Well, that was your strategy?
My strategy was just to pick winners. That's what I did.
Can you
That's
run
awesome.
through your squad, your winning squad? Do you even recall?
I can't even recall. I think
Antrell Taylor did it for you, huh?
Taylor had Caleb Henson. I took the Northern Eye. What's his name that lost to Starachi? I was just picking all Americans.
Keck Eisen.
Keck Eisen and
He got lucky, folks.
Caliendo. Yeah, it was.
Isn't it true you've also never finished in the top 6 out of 10 prior to any year of this?
Hey, man.
You got it done this year.
This was my year.
Hey, it was the craziest year of wrestling, so anyone can win, right? Every squirrel finds a nut every now and then, Ty.
Now and then. Just had to drop in and give my
All right.
grade.
Hey, Ty.
Oh, we appreciate that, man.
Ty, no joke. I appreciate him calling it. Look at his little daughter
Hey.
there. You got to get her training with
Hey.
Levi's sister, dude, because Levi's sister. And I think Ty formerly trained Levi. So get your daughter with, you know what I mean? Because I don't know if you heard, Ty.
Hey.
BG's moving back to Gettysburg, too. So
Oh, yeah. I heard.
we got some dogs coming, PA. We got some dogs. One dog coming.
Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Wow, this show's just turned into a circus around here, isn't it, Kevin?
Couple F's, man.
Goodness,
Yeah.
dude. But...
We just get called on and crapped on, and jeez.
All right, let's move on, folks. Jordan Williams. Let's talk about Jordan Williams next. So Jordan Williams goes from Little Rock to Iowa, the second of 3. Iowa gets a big loss for Little Rock, an A. That's a high-quality loss, man. And for Iowa, a B+ get there at 149 pounds. So Jordan Williams last year finished 9th at 149. He's ranked 8th this upcoming season. There's no one there to replace him at Iowa, and he's replacing at Little Rock, and he's replacing Kyle Parko, and he's still got 2 years left. Kyle, what are your thoughts on Jordan Williams?
Well, I hate this. I hate it because for Little Rock because I mean they took a chance on Jordan Williams, and you know what? He had the best year of his career, high school or college, this past year. He looked fantastic. He beat All-American Ethan Stiles in the conference championships, and he dominated him. And they took a chance on him after all the crap he did, and this is the thanks, It's like, see you later. And I get it, it's money, but the thing I hate about it is I hate when these guys leave in pairs because you're just crippling your team. Like when Teamer and Parco leave Arizona State and then they both go to Iowa. These guys leave Little Rock, go to Iowa. I don't like seeing that at all, man. I just feel like it's just like, dude, do this on your own. And I know that Nasir Bally was actually the one first looking, and Jordan Williams followed, but there was conversation because they both went at the same time,
Yeah.
And I just hate that. It's just like, do your thing, man. Don't drag. If you want to switch teams, that's fine, but don't drag another stud with you or even
Kevin,
conversate
I
about
think
it.
what you're seeing here, man, is a separation from the schools that got money and the schools that do not have money. So
Hmm.
you're going to see schools like Campbell and Little Rock turn into like recruiting bases almost. And
Yeah.
because, dude,
Or-
once these wrestlers get this good, dude, if they can get paid, you got to go get paid. Especially you got 1 or
Yeah.
2 years left, man. You don't even know if there's a professional wrestling league that's going to work. You got to go somewhere and get paid. Schools like Little Rock, Campbell, it's going to be interesting to see how they evolve into almost like recruiting base colleges.
Yeah, like
But
farm teams or something. I mean, the Campbell coach is actually like embraced it. He's like, hey,
Sings
come
is
here, we'll get you
incredible.
ready, and
He's
that
smart by
guy's
embracing it.
awesome.
He's
Yeah,
I
he's
think
just
he's smart by
incredible.
embracing it. But
Yeah, absolutely. He doesn't have a choice, so you might as well embrace it, right?
yeah, so let's talk about the other Little Rock guy who went to Iowa, Nasir Bailey, and it's a B+ significant loss for Little Rock and an A- get for Iowa. It looks like they expect him to be at 141. Last year he finished at 13th at 133. Preseason ranked 8th at 141 by WrestleStat, and Iowa was weak at 141 last year. He's got
Yeah,
2
big
years
time.
left. So this is a big time get for Iowa fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes me wonder, was this all money about money, or was this him thinking, you know what, I didn't have a great year at Little Rock, and him kind of putting it on Little Rock as far as him not getting better, because I mean he was around a 16 this year, opposed to getting fourth place last year. And is this him kind of going, I need someone else to help me, or is this all about the money? And you know what's crazy, Zach, is some of these guys aren't even having really good performances, and teams are grabbing them and paying them. Like you would think that Nasir Bally, after having the performance he did, or Richie Figs having the
Would not
performance
get
he did,
paid.
would not be a hot. Yeah, but instead it didn't matter. Just 2 years ago he did this. We know we can do it. We
That's what I'm
can bring
saying,
him
man.
back to that.
The whole landscape has changed. These big time schools need to fill these roster spots. And if you're not one of the big 5, 4, 5, 3, whatever it is, you might want to shift your, I don't know. Are you a recruiting school at that point? But it's crazy. We're going to see it. It'll evolve. But listen, we'll move on. How about Tarantino goes from Iowa State and Iowa school moving out over to North Carolina? Can North Carolina, Rob Cole, what's he got going on here? Little impact to Iowa State, only a D. Semi-impact to North Carolina, C- here. He's finished 25th at 125 last year. Preseason ranked 24th this upcoming season. 125 is always dicey. Kevin, what are your thoughts here?
Karakina has a lot of talent. He started the year, I think he was like 12-0. He started, but he's got a lot of baggage he's carrying with him, and I mean, so Rob Cole's going to have his work cut out with him between him and Ferrari.
Yeah.
Man, but I'll tell you what, Rob Cole, he's such a good guy, and he's so smart that if anyone can make it work, he can. Spencer Moore was a big loss. I mean, that guy, he had huge wins this year. He had a major over Jet. He a lot of wins, but I believe that Tarakina beat Moore in sudden victory or something. So
We're gonna
if
be
he can
talking
keep
about
him on the
Spencer
straight
Moore.
and arrow, it might be a better pickup for him. We'll
Yeah.
see.
We're going to be talking about Spencer Moore, but those are the grades for that round, folks, and we're going to move on. Let's move on to the next round. We got Rocky Elam, Lenny Pinto. Oh, no. Oh no is in here. Tate Gatti-Alley.
Oh, no.
And there he is, Spencer Moore, folks. So grades are in, report cards are in, folks. Here they are. And it looks like, let's start with Rocky Elam, folks. The Impact of Missouri. Rocky Elam. Here's what's crazy. Impact of Missouri, a 4-time AA. They lose a 4-time AA'er, and the Impact is a D. Is a D. And it's because he got Aiden Sinclair right behind him, Kevin. So kind of irrelevant, ironically, for Missouri, but a huge upgrade for Iowa State. So this makes sense. This is like a good trade, right? Makes sense on all parties.
It depends, because Sinclair might be going 184 still. He was at 184. He started at 197 to kind of get some matches in where Rocky was gone, and then he went down to 184 for the rest of the season. So it kind of depends on if Sinclair is going to be going 84 or not. If I was Sinclair, by the looks of 184, man, I would go up to 197, because 84 is going to be crowded with real young talent, and it's not like, Sinclair can say, okay, a couple of years from now, these guys are going to be leaving. No, man, all these guys are freshmen at 184, freshmen and sophomores. So maybe the move is for him to move up to 197. But if that's the case, you're absolutely right. Not a massive loss. But if he stays at 184, then that's a different story.
Yeah, it is interesting. Elam, the 4-time AA'er, preseason ranked number 4 at 197. 197 is going to be a fun weight class.
He beat Buchanan last year too. Elam did at the conference championships. Not this past season, but the one before, yeah. So.
Oh my goodness, dude. So we got Ferrari there, McAnally. Oh my goodness, that's gonna be fun. Let's move on, folks. Let's talk about Lenny Pinto, who recently went into the portal and from Nebraska to Rutgers. So last year finished number 10th at 174. This next year ranked number 4 at 174. Now, they got the number 21 ranked freshman LJ Arajo to backfill him there at Nebraska. So maybe not as big of a loss you might have thought. He's taken over for Jackson Turley, and he's only got 1 year left. So impact at the old school Nebraska, B-. It hurts, not critical, and kind of the same for the new school, Kevin. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I was honestly surprised to see this. It's kind of funny, because Nebraska brings 9 guys to NCAAs. He was the only one that did an All-American, and he lost 2-1 in the blood round, right?
Yeah.
So Nebraska said, "You're doing All-American, you're out of here." No. I'm wondering have you seen this? I mean, it's been talked about, but the size of Minto is massive. I wouldn't be surprised if he moved up to 74 next year, because he is a big dude. But yeah, or they have the freshmen. So I don't see it as like it's definitely a loss, but like you said, a year of eligibility left, slides in nice to Rutgers. Kudos for Rutgers from getting another high quality guy to fit in their lineup. And all of a sudden Rutgers is looking like, they might have a solid team next year.
Yeah. No, I agree. 1 year left, though, for Pinto. We'll see what he can do there out of Rutgers. But how about this, man? Let's move on. How about Ono? Maybe the biggest surprise the entire offseason. Transferring from the country of Japan to Penn State, dude. I don't even know what to do with the stats to enter into this algorithm here. Basically, Kevin, my question to you, dude, is this – who does this more make sense for? America or Japan? Does it make more sense for Japan to send the number 1 ranked pound-for-pound wrestler to America to wrestle, and maybe we can steal his training secrets? Or does it make more sense for Japan to send him here so maybe he can tell them our training secrets?
Yeah, no kidding. That's a good question, to be honest with you. I don't know. I think that it's funny because people are like, oh, he doesn't know how to mat wrestle. It's like, man, this dude is a world champion and one of the top pound for pound guys in the world. Okay. And he does it on his feet. All right. This guy blew through Vito. He beat Spencer Lee. I don't care how he is on the mat. I don't care. He doesn't need to wrestle on top. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And you know what? I love it. I wish more guys would come from other countries. Let's let's just make NCAAs that much even better. You're only making the product better by bringing in these guys in the world. We're a small section of the world. Bring them in.
I could not agree more. Here's the other wild card. We don't even know what weight he's going, dude. No idea what weight he's going. And, he's never even technically wrestled freestyle. So it's going to be a complete wild card. But wherever he's at, you do not want to be in that weight class. I put an A+, A+. A+, A+ impact, which is not good for Japan. Because 100% Bo Nickel's already stealing some of them secrets. And we're going to be stealing more than he can translate back to them. It's only one of him, a bunch of us. That's how it works. I like it.
I mean,
America.
he was in a tough weight class at senior level worlds, right? His first one. And he's got Guyev, Vito, and what does he do? He freaking texts 4 of his guys, and he beat Guyev 10-2, only because they reversed a call. It was 10-0, and they reversed it, a call, and then he ended up winning 10-2. But I mean, and he's a dominant force, man. And I am curious to see what weight he'll go. At 133 seems to make the most sense, but we'll see.
Well, I also don't have any idea how many years he has left. Do you know?
Who knows, man? Is there any rules anymore? Just give him 4,
He might have 4. He might have 1, dude. Who knows? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Take Gadiali. All right, moves from Campbell to Michigan, dude. Everyone was anticipating the maybe one of the only heavyweight free agents out there. Redshirted last year due to injury. Comes in this upcoming season ranked number 7 at heavyweight. Campbell, unfortunately, it's a big hit to Campbell. They don't have anyone to replace him. They're unranked at heavyweight, and he's replacing Josh Heinzelman, senior at Michigan there. So here's the only thing. Only 1 year remaining for Gadiali. So I got a B impact grade for old school, B impact grade for new school. Your thoughts on Gadiali, Kevin?
Yeah, he's a big pickup. He's got a shot to win it next year. You figure him,
absolutely.
Bastida, and then Trumbull are like the 3 big dogs. Keeter and Feldman, we'll see, how they do, but he's right at the top, really. And we saw what he did to Feldman at the All-Star. I mean, he just tore him apart. He has a really high ceiling, I think. I'm sad for Campbell, but we'll see what Michigan can do. Michigan did good by Cardenas, and I'm excited to see how good he can get.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Bourmet. My question is, Mason Paris in the room to train with him? Because if he is,
I
think there's one result. If he's not, I think there may be a different result for Gadiali this upcoming season.
I think he is, and Adam Kuhn too, the big Greco guy there. I mean, there's a couple really good reasons right there to wrestle, and that's the thing. A lot of these guys are looking at, like Rocky Elam, looking at RPC. It's not just the year; it's who do I have to train to get better for. We got LA coming up, man. Olympics in our country, so that's going to be
with wrestling, and it's under President Trump, who's obviously endorsed wrestling. So this is like the biggest next couple years for our sport in America.
Absolutely, man. It's very exciting.
Yeah. So big get Bourmet there, and Tate Gadiali. Younger Bastida, I do believe, is the number 1 ranked preseason heavyweight. But interesting to see. Obviously Gadiali's going to be ranked a little lower because he didn't wrestle. But let's move on. Let's talk about Jor Volk. Okay, Jor Volk goes from Wyoming to Minnesota, redshirted last year, did AA in 2024, got 7th. Okay, preseason ranked 14th at 125. There's no one to replace him at Wyoming. So that's a big loss. B for Wyoming. And what I have is Cooper Flynn at Minnesota, who's going to likely be taken over for. So B- based on the ranking and Cooper Flynn's final results. 2 years remaining, though, for Jor Volk. So B- get for Minnesota, a B loss for Wyoming. Your thoughts, Kevin?
I'm curious to see what weight he goes. He could go 133 and have Wells redshirt for Minnesota, or he could be at 125. But if you remember, do you remember how good he looked at the All-Star thing? He looked
Yeah.
like he was a national. He looked. I was like, this guy might win nationals. He
Oh,
looked
I know.
so good,
Yeah.
but then he got injured. And if I don't know what exactly his injury was, but if he is back to the way he looked at the All-Star, and you got to figure Minnesota, he's better off at Minnesota than Wyoming, as far as guys in the room, coaches. I mean, I think that this might be a really good move for him. I'm just really curious to see if he's going to be at 25 or 33 because I think that does make a difference. 25, he could be a national title contender, I feel like.
I agree with that. Significantly different at 133. But George Volk, dude, good get from Minnesota there, folks. But
Heck yeah.
let's move on. You formerly mentioned Spencer Moore, so let's talk about Spencer Moore. He goes from North Carolina to Presbyterian. What?
Presbyterian.
What the heck's going on, Kevin?
How weird is that? His wife wrestles there, and so he transferred from UNC to Presbyterian, man.
Don't act like we aren't, Kevin.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, keep it down. Yeah, what a strange move. I mean, I'm sorry, but this doesn't make Spencer Moore better. It just doesn't. It doesn't make you better. But it's he had a lot of really good wins last year. He was around a 16 guy. Like I said, he had a major over Jet, Strickenberger. Tons of good wins. Win over Cooper Flynn, but yeah, I don't know. This is puzzling to me, I guess.
He had to leave before they brought Turankina in, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they brought Turankina in, because they lost Spencer Moore. He goes to be with his wife. Gilman goes to be with his wife. Folks, let me tell you something right now. A lot of things I've done in my life because it was to make Kelly happy, okay? It was not my first choice. But let's move on.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. Oh,
Right?
he did. He did. Just so you know, I was right. Tarakina did beat Spencer Moore in tiebreaker this past year. I was wondering if they wrestled.
Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, folks, we got 12 more. 12 more. Biggest 30. Stick with us. Maybe 18 more. I don't know. Here are the free agent: Isaac Dean, Christian Carroll, Bryce Hepner, Swiderski, Soldano, and Gary Steen. Grades are in. Here they are. Let's start with Isaac Dean. Okay? The 184-pounder from Ryder to Iowa State last year finished 14th at 184. Next season, ranked 16th at 184. There is no one to replace him at Ryder. There's a significant loss, B-level loss for Ryder, and he's replacing Evan Bachman, a 25th ranked finisher, senior, but he's only got 1 year remaining. Kevin, your thoughts, Isaac Dean?
His path kind of reminds me of Machiavello, like where he had like a he started 7-16, and then he was 13-14. Then he's 25-8, and I'm curious to see, where he ends up next, because he's a tough dude, and Ryder is losing a lot of guys in the portal, which is a shame because they were really developing a good team.
Let's go back to the recruiting schools.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to lose him, Zuba, and Wasilewski. But Isaac Dean at the right school, which I think is Iowa State, with the right guys around him. Rocky Elam right there now. Yeah. Bresser is his coach. We're going to see what he's made of, man. I think he's going to get the most out of him at Iowa State. So I like the move for him personally. I don't.
No, let's talk about Iowa State. You mentioned Iowa State. There's stuff going on at Iowa State. How about let's talk about Christian Carroll at Iowa State, because he just left Iowa State to go to Wyoming. And you're like, what the heck is going on? You just said Iowa State's doing good things, dude. Christian Carroll was this huge recruit. I remember watching him in Olympic trials a year or so ago and thinking, this dude is an absolute bull. Is there off-season issues? What's going on with Christian Carroll, Kevin, with that?
It's funny. He had a tweet that said, like, I promise this is the last time because he's just been he's been switching schools and he's got something going on. I personally think that the weight cut is killing him. So there was rumors that he was weighing like 260 over the summer, and then he made 197. Maybe I think this is a good move for him. Going to Wyoming, I think is not as much pressure as those top blue blood schools that he goes to. Maybe he'll wrestle heavy, maybe he won't, but I wish him the best. I just think that I don't think it's a huge loss for Iowa State. I think that they got rid of him, who's very inconsistent and unreliable, and they got a four-time All-American, which is very reliable, in Rocky Elam. So,
Yeah. Well, as you look at the grades, folks, it was a D. It was only a D loss for Iowa State. It's not even a big deal to lose him. And it's an A- get for Wyoming. Really, the only factor in why it wasn't an A+, I would imagine, is kind of these off-mat issues, dude. It's like kind of like, when you're dating around. Remember back when you were dating Kevin and yeah, well, how
yeah,
your buddies, how was she? Well, she's had like 3 boyfriends in 3 weeks, and it's like that's kind of a red flag, right? Christian Carroll right now is kind of that. He's kind of that girl right now, dude. You better settle down, Carroll.
yeah.
You know what I mean, right? Is that crazy?
And if you're Wyoming, you're like, what do you got to lose? It's not like they got a line of big name guys coming in, so it's like,
Yeah.
why not try? And I wish the best for him. I really hope that this is a good fit for him, and we get to see his talent on display. Because, like you said, he's extremely talented.
Yeah, I mean, him at his best could make. Yeah, I mean, obviously AA or better. But all right, let's move on. Let's talk about Bryce Hebner, man, because Bryce Hebner just moved from Ohio State to North Carolina, dude. Is this Bill Belichick, dude? Remember we talked about Belichick impact at North Carolina? Rob Cole, was he riding it? I don't know. Hebner redshirted last year. Is number 18th ranked this upcoming season at 165. Here's the good news for Ohio State fans. 0 impact because you got this number 19th kid, ETM Burden, freshman. I know nothing about him, but he's already number 19th ranked there. So apparently Ohio State's got something figured out with that kid. And replacing an unranked wrestler there at 165 with 2 years remaining. F impact, 0 impact to Ohio State. A B+ impact for North Carolina. Good get, Rob Cole. Kevin.
Yeah, I agree with both of those. Yeah, I mean, talk about no difference. I mean, he wrestled off Burden at Ohio State. It was actually on, and it was a tiebreaker win for Burden over Hebner. So if you're Ohio State, this doesn't affect you much at all. If you're North Carolina, though, if Hebner's stays healthy, this is a really big get. I mean, you got a guy that has a talent. He's beaten Cam Amin before. He lost to Julian Ramirez in the last seconds of a match. Hebner has the talent to do really well, and I really like the mix with. I think Rob Cole can really make Hebner do good things with him for sure. So I know it's not the massive big name pickup, but it's a 65 for North Carolina.
Rob Cole doing some very interesting things out there at North Carolina. I would love to get him on for an interview sometime, but
he's an awesome guy.
Hey, I don't know, folks. He's doing something right. But we got to move on here. Let's talk about Casey Swiderski. He goes from Iowa State over to Oklahoma State. So redshirted last year, but he did AA in 2024 at 149. Preseason ranked number 10 at 149. They got Etchmandia, I believe, to backfill him for a year, still at Iowa State. And he's replacing Teague Travis at Oklahoma State. So, and he's got 2 years remaining. So to me, the old school impact, D-, very minimal. New school impact at Oklahoma State could be pretty significant, B- at this point. Your thoughts, Kevin?
Yeah, he's another guy that you're gonna have to keep. Taylor's gonna have to keep on the straight and narrow. He's a wild one. He's had some crazy stuff go on for sure, but he's a solid wrestler, man. It was a shame what happened to him last year. He went down to 141. He agreed to go down there, and he got injured in his wrestle off to Reading. But Reading was actually winning. I heard that Reading won that first match. That was like a best 2 out of 3, and then Swiderski got injured the second match. So that's kind of surprising. But Swiderski he doesn't need to be going down to 141. That's way too light. he needs to be at 49 or even, 57. But he's tough, man. He's, like you said, he's an All-American. So it's a good fill-in. And if anything, you're adding some depth to your team. You just got to keep them in line.
Yeah. Try to keep everyone in line over there, Oklahoma State. Maybe even the boosters, right? With the comments. Yikes. I'm just kidding. All right, let's move on. Brian Soldano. Brian Soldano goes from Rutgers to Oklahoma. It's the only Oklahoma get we have on the list, but unranked last year is number 13 ranked at 184 this upcoming season. So, I found this one interesting because, there's a lot of top-ranked schools that could use a 184-pounder. But here's the good news. Rutgers has a sophomore, Cartagena Walsh, taking over for him at 184. Not that big of a deal. He's taking over for DeAnthony Parker there at Oklahoma, but only 1 year remaining. Impact at old school F, impact at new school B. Kevin.
Yeah. I don't see it as a huge loss for Rutgers. But yeah, I agree with you. Oklahoma, it's a good get. It's not nothing too exciting, but he fits in there really nice. And Oklahoma's got a sneaky good team, to be honest with you. They got some guys really coming along in there. They've been doing some really good recruiting. And I think that their program's definitely headed in the right direction. So this is a good get for them.
Okay, I did not know that about Oklahoma. I'm a little naive to Oklahoma. So, Kevin, maybe we'll tune in to that. But listen, folks, one more, and then we're going to get to the top 6 remaining free agents that remain. So, Gary Steen, folks, from Penn State to Oklahoma State. It's been a long story at Penn State. Redshirted last year. Going in next season, number 87 ranked at 133. He's getting replaced by Braden Davis. And he's going to a school that just got Richie Figs. So, I don't know. He's got 1 or 2 years remaining. No impact at either school, basically. Yeah. Or is there, Kevin?
No, I don't know why he even did this. I mean, you just got out of one situation to put yourself in the same exact situation somewhere else. I don't understand it. I don't know. I can't. This one just baffles me, to be honest with you.
We're all confused. Not everything makes sense in life, Kevin. Sometimes
doesn't have to us, I guess, right?
I tell my kids when I don't know what the answer to the question is. But hey, let's move on. Final list of remaining free agents, folks. Here it is: Lachlan McNeil, T.J. Stewart, Cody Chittum, Braden Thompson, Ethan Miller, and Caleb Rathjen. Obviously, there's a lot more, Kevin. This is just a top 30 I could fill in for the episode tonight. But here are the grades. Obviously, we don't know what the grade is for the receiving team yet because they don't know where they're going. But here are the grades for the losing team. Specifically, Kevin, I want to ask you about Lachlan McNeil, dude. Come on. Rob Cole, he's getting all these guys, but then he's losing Lachlan McNeil, dude. That's a big loss at 149.
It's a huge loss, and I really was shocked by this. He's got a good relationship with Ramos, too. But you know what, man? He wants that money, man. He wants that money, and he's going to get paid. He's so consistent. You're going to get an All-American with him. And you know what? Nebraska, he would fit in perfectly at Nebraska. He'd fit in perfectly at a lot of places, but him going in for Ridge Lovett, sliding in there at 149, man, that's where I think he's going to go. Either that or maybe Ohio State, but I think Nebraska's a perfect fit for him. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Obviously North Carolina spent all their money on AJ.
Yeah.
Right.
Apparently a lot of money, the one thing I think,
AJ. Oh my goodness, you're losing. It's like a quarterback once he gets his paid contract, second contract. You lose offensive linemen, dude. Can't afford the good ones.
It's something else too. I know you've been a big component of this with Bo Bassett as far as like who you're getting. You're not just getting wins, you're getting everything he brings. Now AJ, he's gonna sell tickets, man. You know what I mean? Rob Cole's all about the business aspect of the wrestling team, and he's a genius at it. And AJ is going to sell you tickets. He's going to bring attention to your program. Hopefully it's good attention, but he's going to bring attention one way or the other to your program.
Obviously, Rob Cole trusts himself and the guidance And it sounds like they got a good team there in North Carolina. AJ said literally he hung out
Yeah.
with them, and not a single person was even drinking a sip of alcohol. Now, that's great for training. I don't know how great that is for fun, right, Kevin?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like fun at all.
That doesn't sound like the college experience I exactly wanted, but no, just it does sound like the experience you want to have if you're, striving to reach the ultimate wrestling goals. So, but yeah.
He said they
I don't
weren't
know.
drinking. He didn't say what else they were doing though, so who knows,
No.
But
Yeah, that's
you know what I
interesting.
think is interesting though is Rocco goes to Penn State, right? And Ryder leaves, right?
Yeah.
Ryder, it would have been a good battle if they wrestled off, I think, right? But Ryder leaves. Ryder goes into Oklahoma State, and Braden Thompson leaves. Braden Thompson actually beat Ryder at who's number one their senior year. Now, I think Ryder's gotten a lot better since then. I would pick Ryder over Thompson, but it's not like the one guy moves in and he's dominant, and the other guy's like, crap, I got to leave. I can't win this.
Yeah.
But it's been like both occasions, guys kind of like, I don't know if it's hurt feelings or I don't even want to deal with this. The chances of
definitely
not
some hurt
starting,
feelings.
who knows?
Let's not act
Yeah,
like these
absolutely.
aren't young kids, dude. I mean, I would
Yeah.
have hurt feelings if some of this stuff happened to me as almost a
Mm-hmm.
40-year-old. So let's not act like that's not part of it, dude. The money's a big
Right.
part. The feelings are part. I mean, there's so much stuff, dude, going on. It is fascinating, dude. There's just so much going on, dude. I couldn't even keep up with it. We didn't even have a live episode for how many weeks. I couldn't even keep up. It took me like
Yeah.
8 hours just to update all these transfers, dude. And this is just the top 30 of what is it? Almost
Insane.
like 200 in the portal?
Yeah, there's 182 guys in the portal right now.
Everyone's trying to
And
get paid.
it's crazy. And I noticed like whole teams are in there, like Buffalo and Campbell still has like all their guys still in there. But yeah, it's nuts, man. They're just,
It's a whole new
it's crazy.
landscape.
It's a whole different world. Yeah, absolutely.
It is a whole new landscape. And you know what else? We're kind of evolving here at BG Wrestling too, folks. So I don't know if you've checked out any of the Wrestling File stories. We got the Honey Bun story with Dom Zacconi that happened this week. Trevor Chumley's Sharkbait story tomorrow, folks. Tune in Friday night for Danny Pacino's head to knee story. And someone almost gets
Nice.
decapitated, literally. And it's a pretty important
Jesus.
person, Kevin. And it's a true story. Real
Really?
stories from real wrestlers. Real short stories
No, I'm
from
curious.
real wrestlers.
No, I like that, man. I've been watching those, and that's great. And you've gotten a bunch of really good guys on,
Hey, we're scheduling out. So if you're a wrestler out there, man, you got a cool, unique, interesting story, funny story, motivating story, whatever it may be. I got a motivating story coming up. It's called Lost in Russia from Ken and Webster. True story. That one's coming out next week. So, folks, I'm here. I'm going to promote these wrestling stories so we can, have them live on forever. All these incredible things.
dude,
happen to
it's a great idea because storytelling's the whole thing, man. All of a sudden, you make fans out of people, right? I mean, someone's like not a fan of Illinois, but maybe all of a sudden they're like, oh man, I can totally relate to Cannon Webster or Danny Pacino or just
hearing the
it's
stories.
what it's all about.
It's about
Yeah.
remembering the stories, man. Remembering these experiences that make wrestling so great and what makes the people great who do wrestle. But that and trivia, we're moving trivia to Sunday, folks. That was instant feedback. So scheduled for Saturday, we're moving that to Sunday night. That just makes a lot more sense. But I'm sorry, Kevin, you also got a big update with the NIL rulings, and I want to give you just some free time to kind of flow with any of your updates that you have, man.
Yeah, I'll try and make it as quick as possible. I know a lot of people were saying April 7th, that's the deadline for making NIL deals. Anything after that is going to need arbitration. That's not true. April 7th was actually the court date that the NCAA went, and she didn't rule on it. She said that she's most likely to approve the suit and the case. However, the thing that she really was stuck on was the roster limitation, which I thought was really interesting. She said, no way do I want this. And if you don't change this, you have a really good shot at me, not approving this. So what she suggested was that the athletes that are currently in college be grandfathered in so they can't get cut. That's what now she can't tell them exactly what to do or how to change it. and she can't say that I'm openly denying this because of one thing, but she said that you got to do something with this or I'm not going to, approve this pretty much. So they got to go back to the drawing board. If they did do something where they grandfathered the current athletes in, I don't know how that would work. I don't know if they would say, okay, we're going to do this roster limit spot from 4 years from now, or if they said every year there's going to be a roster limit on each class, unique to that class. I don't know, but something tells me that we might not have roster limits coming up here. I think there's a chance of that happening now, and I'm surprised nobody's talking about this because it is a really big deal.
No roster
some of these teams
limits?
got 50 guys. Yeah, I mean, some of these guys got 50 guys on their team, and they got to cut 20 guys. And if this judge is saying she's not going to approve it unless you grandfather current athletes in, I don't see how they're going to do that. How they're going to make that work.
Okay, just my initial thought. If you have unlimited rosters, does that not mean the school with the most money wins? Period.
Absolutely, because then you have unlimited
Right?
limited scholarships, right? Because that's the
Yes!
thing is they're like, instead of making it where you have X amount of scholarships, they said, no, you can have as many scholarships as you want. You just have to have X amount on the roster.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that there was athletes that came in and they were, giving their stories about how they're not going to be able to compete, blah, blah, blah. So that was the one thing. And the other thing was just that she didn't want people being locked into this suit with the $20 million each year that the college could stand out. She's like, how am I going to approve people that aren't even there yet on something that's not even done? Like, these people that aren't even in college, I don't want to lock them into this deal, so they have to change the verbiage of that. They're going to meet in, I think, 3 or 4 days, and that's going to decide it. So we'll see what the roster limits. Yeah,
we will know for a fact in 3 days.
Yeah, and then July, all of this would go into effect in July. I forget the exact date, but July. So there's no arbitration for any of these NIL deals until this suit gets passed, and then it would be in July. So yeah, that's another thing I wanted to say real quick.
Soon, I'm about to principal's about to
Yeah,
come into
crazy.
that class, and
I would get work done, man.
Let's start giving some report cards out for them, and that's a debacle, dude. Let's get that figured out.
Yeah, it's a mess, man. It's a mess. And another thing is Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, wrestlers who have the option to be in Final X have to let them USA Wrestling know if they're going to be in Final X or not. So Spencer Lee, Vito Araujo, Kyle Dake at 74 kilograms.
Okay.
And then David Taylor and Aaron Brooks, which David Taylor we obviously know isn't going to. And Aaron Brooks, it sounds like he'll never see 86 kilograms again. So he's not going to. I doubt Kyle Dake will be at 74 kilograms again. So I think that maybe we just see Spencer and Vito take the thing into Final X. And the reason they have that option is because they medaled at the previous Worlds. If you medal at the previous Worlds, you can go into Final X. So if they do take it, then it will just be the winner of the U.S. Open will face, Vito or Spencer in Final X. The weights that don't have someone go.
The Claw U.S. Open, folks. Let me not forget to mention the Claw sponsored U.S. Open coming up in Vegas here in just a couple weeks. Yes, Claw.
That's awesome. I didn't know
sponsor.
That.
Folks, yeah, Claw is the main sponsor. It's a Claw U.S. Open, dude. I've been talking about freaking Claw this whole time, dude. No one believed me. Now they're bigger than we'll ever be. Did. Dude, now Claw is a professional wrestling league. It's actually happening. They're sponsored, and they have a GM reveal. And let me tell you something, dude. 6 GMs who are going to be live drafting their teams, actually on BEG Wrestling in June or July. I can't remember off the top of my head. Live streamed on BEG Wrestling. They're going to draft their team. The GM reveals is coming up very soon. I also can't remember that. Big names, dude. Some names that will blow your mind. I want to spill the beans. I can't spill the beans. But I'm telling you right now, dude, they're figuring it out, dude. It's happening. We're going to have a professional wrestling league in America. It's like the NFL wrestling, dude. Finally.
They're going balls to the wall on this, They're giving it their all. I'll give them that. They're if it did fail, it wouldn't be because they didn't put the effort in.
No.
They're putting the effort in.
No. And hey, and you should put the effort in to help him. Go to check wrestleclaw.com. But Kevin's first time since I quit my job that I've worn a tie, dude. I'm choking over here.
Brutal, man. I hate ties. Yeah. Get the clip on, you know?
But folks, I've been doing nothing but work and research, creating apps and algorithms to break down all these transfers, folks. Go back, watch the whole episode, dude. I kind of stumbled at the start, but I got it going there, right? We got it going there, didn't we, Kevin?
Dude, I thought it worked out well, man.
Yeah.
It's been a while, so good time, man.
You're right. It has been a while, and it's a whole new show. It's no stall zone. we're naming shows, dude. We're structuring things here at PEG now, folks. So
I love it.
Be structured. So that's why we took a week off, but we're back better than ever. So Kevin, final thoughts, man. I can't wait to rip this tie off my neck, dude.
Yeah, man, I'm good. It's things are gonna get wild here, and then you know what? Freestyle's right around the corner, and we got a lot of awesome, U17, U20, U23, U23 Pan Am's coming up. It's awesome. I love how it goes right from college wrestling right into the freestyle season. So,
dude, there's almost no off
stay
season in
tuned.
wrestling. There's like no off season now, dude. Which is
remember that poster? There is no off season or whatever it was, that cheesy 90s poster.
No
fear,
right, man. So, folks, thanks for tuning in, and thanks to Fawn for calling in. Call in next time.
Fawn.
Next week, folks, we're going to be back every Thursday. It's the No Stall Zone Thursdays at 6 to 6:30ish start time. It's always going to be live. It's always going to be call-ins available, folks. It's the Facts Show with Kevin and the call-in. Facts and call-ins, kind of.
Yeah, man. Call all you guys in the chat. Call in, man. We'd like to,
we want your feedback.
Chat with you.
Dude. It's hard for me to keep up with comments as I'm doing it, so it's easier if you just call in. Tuesdays, Wayne's back. My dad next week. Tuesdays,
awesome.
Strong Opinion Show. We got trivia, and we got the short stories. Tune in tomorrow night, dude. Need a head story from Danny Pacino. Danny Al Pacino. So,
Al Pacino.
Kevin, that's it, man. Thanks for
helping
man. Out, dude. And folks, like and subscribe.
Thanks for having me.
Till we're back, BG Wrestling. Thanks for watching.